Hey, chat.
All right, we
Greetings.
got JP's in. It's working so far.
Hi, everybody. Hopefully, we can have a good episode here tonight. Greetings to everybody. Special shout out to our
Live.
sponsors, our fans, our friends,
Yeah,
our family.
sponsored by Apple. I got my
Apple.
Mac. I got my MacBook. We get sponsored by Sims Simpsons. I don't know.
I'm sponsored
Um.
by Fresca.
Ooh,
Give Fresca.
caliente.
Yeah, we'll give Fresca a shout out. Shout out to
Um.
the dudes. Hope you're out there watching. Uh,
Yeah, I sent the link to your friends in a group, but nobody's responded yet, so I don't know. But we got JP. That's the main person that we're worried about. He was worried about. So
man,
as long as we have JP here, the
he's been waiting for this episode for over a year now.
damn. Yeah, you missed the last one live. It wasn't live, and now we got this puppy going. This is the way to go with fantasy episode, I think. Gotta do it live, pal. After your picks, I'm gonna give out a phone number people can call in and ask you questions. We'll see
All
if
right.
that works or if it's a terrible idea. I'm not giving my personal number or anything, but I gotta figure out a way to get a free number that I can have go to my computer and then play over. We'll see if it works, though. I don't know. It might be stupid.
Yeah. So without further ado, I guess we'll start. So we want to preface this. This is just from my own research, from trial and error, and just different things. For the most part, I want to say this will be like a 12 team PPR league. I mean, there's different types of leagues out there, like we've covered in past episodes. There's standard scoring, PPR league, PPR scoring, salary cap. So for this episode, for this specific episode, we're going to go with 12-team PPR. And one of the things that I like to start off by saying is you want to know your league's rules. You know, like whether you get half a point for PPR, full point PPR, defensive scoring. Just know the rules, know the scoring system, know your league, know what your league members are going to be doing, like what the current trends are, what the trends are in the NFL, and another thing that you want to do is try to eliminate risk and find value. So we're gonna try to do this a little bit differently each year. I mean, I'm still gonna give you at least five guys, not the restaurant five guys that just take out In and Out. I don't know if you guys read about Five Guys having better burgers than In and Out. No, it wasn't Five Guys. It was this Habit. Habit defeated In and Out in
Oh,
they took out a billboard. I don't know if you guys saw that. Habit beat In and
oh,
Out and Five Guys. So yeah, shout out to the Habit.
wow.
I love me a
Abbott, new sponsor.
double char with cheese. Really hits the spot, especially at that Buellton location.
Wow.
So
Must
so
be streaming.
you want to eliminate risks and find values. So without further ado, I got about at least, like I said, five guys that we'll talk about, and then I'll get into those shortly. But before I get into the guys, there's two teams in the NFL that I think are, in terms of fantasy, and when I say fantasy, I mean like a fantasy football team. Not necessarily. I don't think they're necessarily a Super Bowl contender, but I think they could be good to help you win your fantasy league. And the two teams that
All right.
I want to I'm going to talk about uh, is the guys that have a lot of potential fantasy players that could help you win your league. So the first one is the Bears, Chicago Bears. And for me personally, I usually hate the Chicago Bears because they're from Chicago and they suck normally. But this year they've got a lot of interesting members, team guys that could help you win, led by their quarterback, Caleb Williams, who was the number 1 draft pick in the NFL last season. I think he could be one of the breakout guys for your fantasy season. And one of the things that I've known, I've been doing my research is there's a big three in the quarterbacks, and the big three in the quarterbacks is Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson, and those guys usually get drafted by the 3rd round. So if you don't have to have one of the big 3 quarterbacks and spend a high draft pick on those quarterbacks, I think Caleb Williams, he's a guy that could help you along the way to win your fantasy league. And another thing that I like about the Bears, they got a new head coach, the old offensive coordinator from the Detroit Lions. And we all know how the Detroit Lions became fantasy darlings under that coach. His last name's Johnson, I believe. I don't remember his name. He was a jabroni. They could never beat the Eagles. They didn't beat the Eagles in the playoffs. They couldn't even make it to see the Eagles. So, but this Johnson guy, the new coach from the Bears, he's hot, young, offensive-minded caliber that helped Ben Johnson. Thank you, JP. Ben Johnson.
Oh, nice. There you go.
So he helped a guy by the name of Amon-Ra St. Brown become a household name. So I think he could help do that with a guy like Caleb Williams. He could do that for another guy that was another high draft pick that they made last year, Rome Odunze. But the guy that I really like from the Chicago Bears is a guy named DJ Moore, who came over from the Carolina Panthers a couple of years ago. And DJ Moore is like a very valuable fantasy football player because he usually catches a lot of passes and he usually gets a lot of yards. And if he can mix in and if he can have an uptick in touchdowns, I think he could be a very valuable and viable fantasy wide receiver, at least a number 2 option that you can rely on to get you 10 to 14 points every week. And then they also have a guy that used to play for the Eagles that's a running back that I feel is very undervalued, DeAndre Swift. And he's going to be the running back. He's going to be one of the running backs that Ben Johnson's going to get to deploy like he did with like he did for Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. So I think DeAndre Swift, he could be one of those RB2s that you get later in the 5th, 6th, 7th round that you'd be happy that you have him. If you're over there, if you follow like a 0 running back philosophy and you have to draft running back late, I think that's a guy that you can count on to help you win your league and to get you some good points out of a running back position. And unfortunately, it looks like Apostle may or may not have frozen right now.
I'm there. I'm just trying to get some pictures up of these guys. I had one in the background for DJ or whatever. We got we got Mel and New Uzi in the chat too. I don't know what they're talking about. But
welcome. Thanks for joining us tonight. And that's
DeAndre.
Another guy on the Bears that I like, not as much as another one of my picks, but they have a rookie tight end named Colston Loveland from Michigan. I believe, Michigan Wolverines tight end. He was a very high 1st round draft pick, and I think he can. Thanks, JP. I was getting there. So I think he can
take over.
I think he can help you as well. I think you can get him between the 10th and the 14th round if you want to wait on the tight end. So
look at the helmet on this guy too. He's got a giant helmet, so that's probably helps.
Yeah. So the Bears, that's one of the teams that I think can help you win. But the other team that I really like, that I think could possibly be a contender, if things bounce their way, an injury there goes their way, the ball bounces the right way. One of the sleeper teams out there, and I think they could produce some fantasy darlings, is the Denver Broncos. And they're led by their coach, Sean Payton. And for those of you who know Sean Payton, he used to coach for the Saints. And he won the Super Bowl with the Saints, and he's always had very good fantasy players. And the one team that he coached with the Saints, few years back, several years back, he had a 1-2 running back punch combination of Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara. And normally you don't want to do that. Like you don't, as the fantasy manager, the fantasy owner, you don't want to have both running backs from the same team. You want to spread the wealth. But the one year, Sean Payton had Ingram and Kamara, and they were both top 10 in scoring for running backs in their league. So he had two running backs in the top 10. And I don't know with this year's version of the Broncos whether they'll do that, but I think they have a very good chance. And in the Mark Ingram role this year is a guy named J.K. Dobbins. He played on the Chargers last year, very good running back. He got a lot of carries for the Chargers until he got hurt late in the year, and he was helping a lot of teams until he got hurt. And he was doing a really, really good job. And there you see J.K. Dobbins. But the other guy that I think is kind of their sleeper pick that could play the Alvin Kamara role is a rookie that they got. His name is R.J. Harvey. And I think he's going to play the Alvin Kamara role, the change of pace back, the speed back, the guy that can catch the ball out of the backfield and make a lot of plays for you. So I'm not really suggesting that you guys pick both the running backs, but Sean Payton does have a history of having two top 10 running backs on the same team. And another guy that I like from the Denver Broncos, and we alluded to this a little bit earlier on finding values, is their quarterback, Bo Nix. At the end of the season last year, when Bo Nix, he was a rookie, he was a top 6 fantasy scoring quarterback last season. And he probably wasn't drafted by many teams, and you were able to get him on the waiver wire. And he probably helped a lot of people win their leagues because you didn't have to spend high draft commodity to get him. You were probably able to get him on the waiver wire. And if anybody has a question about what the waiver wire is and how to do that, feel free to put that in the chat and we'll answer. Maybe I'll just answer what the waiver wire is. So you do a draft, and you draft all the available players. And then everybody that's left over, they go in reverse order, and you can put a claim in. And then at the given time when your league commissioner sets the time that you put your claim in, it goes in a reverse order from worst record or worst draft, depending on the time that you're doing it, from when you drafted or during the season. It goes like if you have the worst record in the league, you get first crack at the people in the waiver wire. So the waiver wire is people that are not on a team. AKA the Boneyard. Yes, JP, thank you. So I'm like 99% sure Bo Nix was on the waiver wire, and the last 6 weeks of the fantasy season last year, he was a top 6 scoring quarterback. So it's not an exact science drafting the quarterbacks.
Okay.
And also, the Denver Broncos have a tight end. I believe they have Evan Ingram now. He could be a good help for Bo Nix, good tight end. As well as they have 2 good receivers, Cortland Sutton and Marvin Mims. So if you want to stack the Denver Broncos, I think a good stack would be to get Bo Nix and Cortland Sutton. And they're not expensive. So like if you waited on the quarterback, like if you didn't get Jalen Hurts or Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson in the 3rd round, you could probably get Bo Nix around the 6th or the 7th round and really, really build up your roster by waiting on the quarterback. It's kind of a personal preference. I've had it both ways, where I've had the star quarterback, where I've spent the draft capital to get the good quarterback, and I've won the league doing it that way. And then I've had other years where I've had to piece together the quarterback, and I've won it that way. But I will say this, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, that you want to make sure you have the quarterback position right. You don't want to have to be chasing the quarterback week by week. So the other thing that I'll say is if you have somebody that you like, get them. Don't wait for it. If there's somebody out there that you must have, go for it. And also, another one for the Denver Broncos that I like, I think they have probably the best defense, because obviously you have defense in the fantasy football leagues. So I think Denver has one of the best defenses to get. And now we'll get into some of the other stuff that I want to share with our audience. I kind of alluded to it earlier. If you gotta have one of those top quarterbacks, it's going to be in round 3, if not earlier, if you have to have one of the top 3s. But I do feel there is value out there with Bo Nix, with Caleb Williams, Brock Purdy, Kyler Murray, Justin Fields. It's just a matter of what flavor of ice cream or what kind of a candy bar do you want. Do you want to have the king size candy bar, or do you want to have just a good candy bar? You know what I mean? Like, do you have to have the Jalen Hurts, the Josh Allen, or can you build up the rest of your team? Are you smart enough, or I wouldn't even say smart enough, are you lucky enough to get the right pieces of the draft, the right draft picks, if you wait on the quarterback?
Yeah. That's
another thing that I realized this year over past years is that there feels like, to me at least, that there's a lot of depth in the tight end position. And in years past, the tight end position was kind of like a drag, and it didn't go, like, it wasn't very lucrative to get it unless you got the Travis Kelce. But now I think there's at least eight tight ends, and I can name them off. I have them right here if you'd like, after the 2 good ones of Brock Bowers and Trey McBride from the Cardinals. But there's like George Kittle. He's a good tight end. Sam Laporta, TJ Hawkinson, David Njoku, Travis Kelce, who's been the top tight end for probably the last 10 years. He's like the 7th tight end. You could get him, and that might be the most valued pick in the whole draft. Travis Kelce, you'd probably get him in the 7th or 8th round. Kelce, yeah. Not to be confused with the guy that used to play for the Eagles. It's his brother. And then Mark Andrews, who I think is also another good tight end. So I feel that there's definitely tremendous value in Travis Kelce. And if you have to have Travis Kelce, you don't have to get him in the 2nd or the 3rd round. He'll be there in the 7th or 8th round. So I feel like there's good value in the tight ends. Very good. So you don't have to really, if you miss out on the Brock Bowers or the Trey McBride, you don't have to panic, because there's other guys that can help you win your league. And there's always somebody that's going to slip through the cracks. And that's where I'm going to come in with my first guy of Chris's likes.
Oh, Chris's likes. Here we go.
Chris's likes. My first guy. He's a rookie tight end, believe it or not. First round pick from Indianapolis Colts, from Penn State, Tyler Warren. Hang on,
here we go.
The boss is going to put his picture up. This is Chris's pick. Look at this guy. He reminds me of one of my all-time favorite players that used to play for the Giants a little bit. He reminds me of a guy named Jeremy Shockey. I watched this guy play at Penn State. Just an awesome football player. He threw the football. He was a left-handed thrower. He had like 112 catches. He was just amazing at Penn State. And now he was a first-round pick, and believe it or not, he was the 2nd tight end picked. And this guy was a stud at Penn State. Stud.
Wow.
Stud. But the Colston Loveland, he got picked ahead of him. Don't get me wrong, I like Colston Loveland as well, but this guy, Tyler Warren, stud. And he goes to the Colts. And the Colts, they don't have a lot of offensive playmakers. I mean, they have a few guys that can help you. Michael Pittman, the running back whose name I can't think of right now. Oh, what the heck is that guy's name? I can see him running. But he's good. But where the Colts struggle, and the Colts are actually, they're really good in the offensive line. JP helped me out with the running back, Jonathan Taylor. And he's there. He'll help you. He's probably first-round pick. But this Tyler Warren, he's not going to have a lot of competitions for targets. And like I said, he's an absolute stud. And I look for big things. But where the Colts are going to struggle is if they can get the ball to Tyler Warren. They're not very good. The Colts aren't very good at the quarterback. They have like Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones, and that's not exactly Josh Allen or Joe Montana or Steve Young or any of the guys that you guys may have seen us draft in the all-time football picks league. So if the Colts, if they can find a way to get Tyler Warren the ball, tremendous value after the 10th round, in the fantasy draft was a first round draft pick in the NFL as a tight end. And that's one of the guys I'm targeting. If I miss out on those like first 8 tight ends that we talked about, because there is a lot of depth, I think this guy, he's gonna be a great asset, a great addition to your fantasy team. So that's my first like, Tyler Ward. And if we go back, Apostle, and we go to the Chris's likes last year, who was Chris's number 1 like in 2024? Drum roll. I'm gonna put his picture up. He's my hero of the year. Dun, 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 dun. Fly, run, Saquon, run on the road to the Super Bowl. We love Saquon. Score a touchdown, 1, 2, 3. I'm getting sore tonsils. I'm gonna have to have a drink of Fresca and watch Saquon run. Run, Saquon, run. That's the remix.
Damn, Run Saquon Run remix. We gotta put that in the podcast.
Fly, Goose, fly. All right, so let's continue.
He's on the cover of Madden. Is there anything? Is that good or bad?
That's bad. But let me tell you something. What my dad used to say is shit like that. Yeah, that's bad. But you know, sometimes, hey, the law of averages are going to catch up sometime. And yeah, Saquon had those 2,000 yards, and nobody that ever ran for 2,000 yards ever had more than 1,500 yards the next year. Hey, but the law of averages are going to catch up. The Madden curse and the 2,000 yard curse. Hey, Saquon's a stud. I'm not worried about Saquon. And the Eagles, for all the things that they do, they think they're so much smarter than everybody else. And for the most part, they make pretty good decisions. Yeah, I'm sure they've researched it, and I'm sure like Saquon's like he's conditioned. He's been in peak physical shape. As long as he doesn't get hurt, he's going to be fine. Yeah, and
Joe Boo.
Oh, we drink Joe Boo's rum. We're not going to drink Joe Boo's rum. But as long as Saquon doesn't get hurt, hey, we proved like he has any number of outcomes. Like he could either like get hurt early on in the year and suck and ruin your fantasy year, or he could be the best. Because like it is bad juju, and nobody, like in theory you would pick Saquon first, but like everybody's scared to death. The Manning curse, the 2,000 yard curse. Law of averages might catch up, and if it was ever going to catch up, it's with a special guy like Saquon. Saquon's been out there. He's been playing golf with Trump. He's taken up golf. He was at Flight Club. I watched a video of him sneaker shopping. He bought a bunch of shoes for his kids. He's a stand-up guy. So yeah, Chris's number one. Chris's number 1 like last year was Saquon. And Chris's number 2 like, and the funny thing was, Chris's number 2 like, if we go back and watch it, Apostle, correct me if I'm wrong, was Derrick Henry. And everybody forgets Derrick Henry had a motherfucker of a season last year. Derrick Henry had 1,900 plus yards. And nobody talks about it. He
wasn't calling Derrick Henry.
No. Nobody even mentions Derrick Henry's 1,900 plus yards because Saquon went over 2K. But Derrick Henry had a motherfucker of a year too. Yeah. So these Chris's picks, there's some merit to these picks. So, and these are my personal picks. So don't blame me if you take my picks and you lose. But hey, this is
this is just an information.
Information only.
Yeah.
And this year, I'm going for more of value and sleepers as opposed, like Saquon was a little bit of an unknown. I mean, you knew the talent was there, and you knew the Eagles hopefully were going to be able to unlock it, and both things meshed beautifully, meshed perfectly. And if we go back, and Apostle, if he ever has extra time, he could make all the Eagles things that we did last year of the 2024 season. It would be just like a wonderful, beautiful mesh of Eagle medley. You know, that was just a beautiful thing when the Eagles took on the Baltimore Ravens, or when the Eagles beat the Rams. We talked about all that shit. That all shit is all documented. What a special year. I don't know if anything will ever be 2024, but you know what's going to be 2024? 2025. I got my Kobe jersey on. You got to have that Mamba mentality. You got to get 1% better. And if you're not willing to fly together, you're not going to win. So, Chris's next pick, And then no particular order. We talked about Bo Nix. Bo Nix was one. Bo Nix is one of my quarterback pick. Oh, look at that! Oh, oh, brother. So Bo Nix, we talked about him earlier. Tremendous value on Bo Nix,
Oh,
and he
Nick.
gets some rushing points. And Sean Payton's very good, savvy, offensive-minded coach, and I think Bo Nix is going to take that next step. And here's another one. Go Birds! So here's another pick that I like. And I was talking to my producer earlier about this, and I had to get the line in. So I'm going to get the line in. So this guy was a first-round draft pick last year, ended up missing the entire year. This guy's a rookie from the national championship 2 years ago from University of Michigan, J.J. McCarthy. And the line that I told my producer that I wanted to get in was J.J. McCarthy was given the keys to a Mercedes, and he can't go drive the car like a Nissan Altima. A
Come on,
burgundy.
JJ. Get up in there, JJ.
You just can't drive. He's got in many people's minds, not mine, of course, the most smartest offensive coach, the Kevin O'Connell. He's some kind of a quarterback guru, some kind of a quarterback whisperer, but he's no Chris Adams. He's no Nick Sirianni. But for whatever reason, the NFL, they love this guy, and he developed a no-good jabroni last year by the name of, that was from USC, Sam Darnold, that was like an afterthought, struck out at the Jets, struck out somewhere else, ends up on the Vikings as J.J. McCarthy's backup, and J.J. McCarthy got injured early in the season, and Sam Darnold, up until the very end of the year, was like a top 5 or 6 scoring fantasy player that people got on the waiver wire. But with the thing of tremendous value last year for Sam Darnold, but they fucked up at the end and they couldn't. That's a great point. Well, let me finish about driving the Mercedes. So he's got probably, other than the Eagles and probably the Bengals and maybe Miami, comment down below. After them, the Vikings, well, throw Detroit in there as well. The Vikings may have the best set of skill players in the NFL. Probably top 6. Probably comment chat down below. Where do you rank the Vikings skill guys? Led by all-world receiver Justin Jefferson. They've got another first-round pick, Addison, but I think he's going to get suspended, so maybe slow your roll on drafting him. And then they've got a pair of good backs, and they've got a good timeshare. And I want to talk about Aaron Jones. He's a little bit up there in age, but the guy that I like, if he could be a good handcuff, if you get Aaron Jones, you might want to get Jordan Mason, who they acquired from the 49ers. For those of you last year that had Christian McCaffrey who got hurt, you hope that you handcuffed him with Jordan Mason. Well, now Jordan Mason is on the Vikings, and he could be the guy somewhere down the line that's going to help or overtake Aaron Jones, and maybe he's going to be that guy that you drafted maybe with your last pick. Maybe you got him on the waiver wire. And so J.J. McCarthy, don't drive the freaking like a Nissan Altima, a used Nissan Altima. You got a Mercedes, drive the thing like a Mercedes. And also, like JP said in the chat, T.J. Hawkinson, one of the top 5 tight ends. So tremendous skill position players for the Vikings. Mason from Liquor Emporium, he's a no-good jabroni that is going to get put in the camel clutch by the apostle.
Oh, hell yeah. Got fresco up now.
I'm doing too much talking. So when we talked about at the beginning, I talked about the teams that I liked, and the value guys obviously are. I think the guy that's going to break out in year 2 for the Bears is that Roma Dunze, but don't sleep on DJ Moore. I think DJ Moore's kind of the do-it-all gadget player. So I think he's going to be. I think those 2 Bear guys could be a 1-2. I wouldn't say get them both on your team. I don't know if there's enough points to go around to have them both on your team, but I think you'd be okay to have either one. I think I'd rather have personally. I think I'd rather have Roma Dunze. And that gets me to one of the other points I wanted to make. When I'm drafting my team, for the most part, what I look for is guys that either are on their first contract or on their second contract, because I think the NFL is a young man's game. And you don't want to get these guys that are fat and lazy. No, I don't think so, Chris. Not on the sophomore slump for Caleb, because I think he's going to take. I think he's going to take a leap with a new coach. I think they've got a competent offensive play caller now, and I think they're going to take. I think they're going to take a new leap. I think he's got a similar setup to what he had in Detroit with Goff. I think Williams is a better overall prospect than Goff was when Goff came out in 2016. I think that they've got a similar set of skill players. Yeah, who knew who Amon-Ra St. Brown was 3 years ago? Ben Johnson made that guy a household name. Did Amon-Ra St. Brown put in the work? Yeah, absolutely. But without Ben Johnson's brain and skill power and play calling abilities, nobody knew who Amon-Ra St. Brown was. So DJ Moore has a little bit of pedigree. I believe was a first round pick out of Maryland 6 or 7 years ago. So he's got a little pedigree. He's been in the NFL for a while. But like I was saying earlier, you want guys, I personally want guys that are younger, that are on their first or second contract. DJ Moore's, I think, he's at the end of his second contract. So this would be like the last grasp for getting him. But like Roma Dunze could really be a breakout star. And you could get him around the 6th, 7th, 8th round. So I think, and then that was one of Chris's picks. Bo Nix, we've talked about him earlier. I think Bo Nix could be. I think he could help you win. How do you? Let me finish on. I think Bo Nix can help you win your league if you wait on the quarterback. So JP, question is, how do you feel about worrying about bye weeks when you draft? Do you care or don't care? Honestly, no. I look for the best available players. Everybody's going to have a bye week somewhere down the line. So you hope to alleviate that. You hope that you've drafted. What I like to say is I don't draft bench players. I draft starters in waiting. So hopefully I've done my research. I've done my homework. I've put in the time on the waiver wire that I can have a good enough team where I'm not scrambling to pick up Robert Adams to be my running back 2 in a key crucial playoff matchup, in a key matchup during the regular season. Or you got to put in the work. So yeah, I'm not overly concerned about bye weeks. No, because everybody has to deal with them. So no. Where were we? My next guy that I like is another wide receiver. And this wide receiver, I don't know much about him personally, but he plays for another team that I despise. As you guys all know, if you watched the football episode, I'm one of my least favorite teams. And no, it's not the Cowboys. You guys all know how I feel about the Cowboys. If the Dallas Cowboys were playing the Taliban, I'd be going for the Taliban. We've talked about that in the past. But another team that I absolutely despise, and all their fans are basically low-class assholes, is the 49ers. But a guy that I do like from the 49ers is a guy, wide receiver, and I don't know much about him, but I'll tell you why I like him. His name is Juwan Jennings. And the reason that I like him is there's my good friend Deebo Samuel, friend of the show, is now playing in Washington. Real cocksucker, Deebo Samuel. He's playing in the Redskins, and he probably had 140 touches. See, I don't know much about Juwan, like where he went to college. I don't know much about him. And then his running buddy, Brandon Ayuk, is recovering from a torn knee, ACL, MCL, had a really bad injury, so he's not going to be there. And when the 49ers had both those guys, Jennings was kind of like a breakout candidate. Even when he had all those, like when they had all those good guys, he was kind of stealing the show from time to time. 7th round pick out of Tennessee for Juwan Jennings. Thank you. Yeah. But the other reason that I like him, like I was saying, like he's going to be the guy, like on the 49ers after George Kittle, like for Brock Purdy to throw the ball to. Without Ayuk, all-time leading. Oh, there you go. The all-time leading receiver from Tennessee. So Tennessee's produced a lot of good NFL players. So this guy Jennings is the all-time leading receiver from a SEC powerhouse, Tennessee, the Vols. So like I was saying, Deebo Samuel probably had 140 targets. Ayuk probably had same thing. So there's like almost 300 targets to divvy up. And they have like another guy, Ricky Pearsall, but I don't know much about him. I think he's like a poor man's Jalen Rieger. And Jalen Rieger was an absolute jabroni. That's what I think about Ricky Pearsall. But this guy I think can actually play. Jawan Jennings. So there's like 300 targets. He's in this Mike Shanahan, Kyle Shanahan offense. So they've always had good, like they've had like Julio Jones, McCaffrey, Rod Smith. They've had good guys in the Shanahan-led offense, and I think this year this guy is going to be a guy that's going to be a very valuable pick come draft day. I think he's going to be undervalued, and I think if you end up getting him, you're probably not smart enough. You probably got him. He's your third or fourth wide receiver. And then week one, he's going to ball out and probably have 7 catches for 122 yards and 2 touchdowns, but he's going to be on your bench because you don't play him. I think you get this guy and you play him regardless of where you've picked him at. I think this guy has a chance to really be the breakout star of the fantasy year. One of the breakout stars of the fantasy year. So with that being said, comment down below if you guys have any fun facts on Jawan Jennings, if you love the 49ers, if you hate the Eagles, if you love my Kobe jersey with the Mamba mentality. And yeah. Now we're going to get to a good one.
All right.
So this was one where Chris was wrong last year. Bang, bang! For Cactus Jack, obviously, who we've met in the past. Zoom in. There he is. I see the 3 faces. I see him. Bang, bang!
There's Cactus.
There he is. There he is. Man. Okay, so unfortunately, there's times when Chris was wrong. Not many, but Chris was wrong.
When?
Well, we'll call this good old cocksucker Chris, where good old cocksucker Chris was wrong. So, last year's was Curtis Samuel, and this year I missed on Curtis Samuel. Curtis Samuel was a miss for me. On all my teams, I drafted Curtis Samuel, and Curtis Samuel ended up being Curtis Samuel. Good football player, really good NFL football player, just not a very good fantasy contributor. Kind of like Darren Sproles, one of my all-time favorite football players. Darren Sproles was an unbelievable football player. He just was not a very good fantasy football player. So there's two different. Which face? All 3 faces. So like I said, Darren Sproles was not a good fantasy football player. Tremendous NFL player, but just not a good fantasy player. Same thing with Curtis Samuel. He's a very good NFL football player. He just doesn't contribute much in fantasy. So here we're going to go back. We're going to go back to that branch. We're going to go back to that same team, the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills last year, they drafted a guy in the first round named Keon Coleman, or maybe it was the first pick in the second round. And he came, I'm pretty sure it was from Florida State. So what do I like about this guy now, Keon Coleman? He's been in the NFL now this is going to be his second year, so he's got a taste of the NFL. He's had a full off season. He's been working out with probably the number 1 fantasy quarterback in the league, Josh Allen. Plenty of targets to go around there for Keon Coleman, second-year wide receiver. And that's another thing that, like I talked about earlier, he's in the second year. He's on his first contract. So those are guys that I like to target, guys on their first or second contracts. And like I said, he's playing with Josh Allen. We didn't even talk about the Bills because their skill players they've got a younger group of skill guys because they're paying – in their real team, they're paying all their players, so they don't have the luxury of paying the skill players. They have to go and draft them, although they did just pay James Cook, so now James Cook is back. So I was talking to a good friend of the show, Simmer, and we were talking a little bit about Keon Coleman. He's my Bills insider. And he said that the only problem is Josh Allen likes to divvy up the ball. So they've got a lot of Curtis Samuel. They got another guy that I really like is Elijah Moore. He's over there. They got the Shakir guy, Khalil Shakir. So, and then they got the 2 tight ends. They got Kincaid, and then they got the other tight end that they had that dropped the ball in the playoff game. I can't think of his name. What was that? They have the 2 tight ends. Yeah, Elijah Moore. So they've got Elijah Moore on the cheap. They're not paying him much. They're not paying Keon Coleman much. But I think that Keon Coleman, if there was ever a chance for Josh Allen to have that number one receiver like he had a few years back with Stephon Diggs. I think it's going to be him. I think it has to be him. He's the first round. He was a first round pick. So if anybody knows JP, what was that tight end? That other tight end that the Bills had? Throw that down in the chat. But Dalton Kincaid's still there. He's a viable tight end as well. Where's that guy? That tight end. And chat. It's okay to invest in a magazine if you don't want to go with my things. Go ahead and buy yourself a magazine. It's okay. Spend the $10-15. Where's that guy at? Dawson Knox. His name's Dawson Knox. So, Bills just right outside the top 5 or 6 in skill players in the NFL. But don't be afraid to. It's about taking calculated risks, and I think any of the skill players from the Bills is a calculated risk because Josh Allen distributes the ball. So, that being said, on to my next guy. We talked about Roma Dunze. We talked about DeAndre Swift. We talked about R.J. Harvey, DJ Moore, Tyler Warren. And last, but definitely not least, is Travis Kelce. Back in the day, when I say back in the day, I'm saying 2 years ago, is you'd have to spend a first-round pick if you want a Travis Kelce. And from everything that I've been reading and studying, they said he's lost a lot of weight in the offseason. And I still feel he's probably the best skill player that the Chiefs have. I mean, they've got that Rashee Rice, and they have Hollywood Brown. Hollywood Brown might come back. But I think Travis Kelce, I think that's the guy that Mahomes trusts the most. So if he could, this could be like this is a defeater of all they've been saying earlier about drafting guys on their first or second contract. This is a caveat because I think this could be Kelce's last hurrah, and he's going to want to go out with a bang. And the biggest thing is Mahomes trusts him. And where you're drafting him, you're getting him in at least the 7th or 8th round. So tremendous, tremendous value. And we have a question in the chat. How do you feel about the hype on Ashton Jeanty? I love the hype. I love the hype. That's one of the things. I think I like to get rookies. I like having rookies on my team. I believe in the hype. He's a rookie. He's playing for the Raiders. He's going to get plenty of opportunities. The coach, Pete Carroll, is going to give this guy every opportunity to be the new and improved and younger version of Marshawn Lynch. I think he's going to run this guy into the ground. I think if you have a top 5 pick and you have to have the running back, because here's what I've studied and learned is the first 2 picks is going to be Jamar Chase and Bijan Robinson. After that, it's all up in the air. So if you have to have the running backs is a commodity that you have to have. If you I don't have a problem spending a top 5 pick on Ashton Jeanty because I think he's going to have a lot of opportunities to touch the ball, and that's the most important thing in fantasy football, touching the ball. I think he's going to be a 20-plus touch guy. That's the thing that you guys should be looking for, touches. Or with the receivers, targets. How many times they're targeted or how many times they touch the ball. I think Saquon, 20-plus guy. Bijan Robinson, 20-plus guy. Ashton Jeanty's going to be a 20-plus guy. McCaffrey's probably, if he stays healthy, he's a 20-plus guy. The targets, Jamar Chase, definitely a double-digit target guy. Another guy that I liked, and we can go back, that I talked about, was a rookie last year from the Giants, Malik Neighbors. Led the NFL in targets last year. So he ends up being a pretty viable option as well. So be on the lookout for guys that touch the ball a lot. So yes, I'm high on Ashton Jeanty, and if you want to spend the top 5 pick on him, go for it. I don't have a problem with that. And you got to be wary on the running backs though, because there are any number of outcomes that you could get. A couple years ago there was a guy named Travis Etienne that everybody loved. and he seemed to have fallen off a cliff. Everybody spent for a second round pick on him, and now all of a sudden he's going to be bagging groceries at the Piggly Wiggly, possibly, or maybe he'll come back. It's hard to say. And chat, friends, family. That's all I got. That's all I got. Couple caveats. Try to eliminate risk and try to find your values. There's always going to be risk involved, but try to navigate your risk. Do you devalue rookie Amarian Hampton with Rashawn Slater going down for the year? He was slated for the third. No. Good question. Very good question. No. Why? Coach Jim Harbaugh, like we talked about last year, what is Jim Harbaugh known for? Pounding the rock. I don't care what's going to happen. You know one thing with Jim Harbaugh and offensive coordinator Greg Roman, who's even more of a freaking Newt Rockney, Robin Lukin, running the football. They're going to run the football. They're going to find a way to give Omarion Hampton and Najee Harris a bunch of carries. Even though Najee Harris had a little accident with a firework because he's a dumbass and almost blew his face off with his fireworks. I hear he's pretty close to coming back to practice. So, guys, boys, girls, don't be over there with your play with fireworks and blow your face off, especially when you have $1 million contracts. So, no, I think Omarion Hampton in the third round, good. I personally would rather have the RJ Harvey, though, over Omarion Hampton, personally. But that's not a slight on Omarion Hampton at all. I think there's good value. And the other guys is the two rookies that came out of Ohio State. They go after the 10th round, both of them. And I think the guy from the Browns, Quishon Judkins, I think he's kind of a little immature, and I think he got arrested back in July. I think he's going to beat that charge and won't get suspended. And I think eventually he's probably going to be the starting running back for the Browns. And the Browns have decent little skill. They've got a good offensive line, and I think they're going to pound the rock. And I think he might run up some guys' assholes. Quinshon Judkins. And the guy from the Patriots, Trevion Henderson, as well. Both those guys, Ohio State guys, I think are going to be sooner than later. I don't think they're going to start on the bench. I think that if you draft them, I think they're going to be playable early. I don't think they're stashes. And that's another thing when you're doing your research. Always have somebody that you like to stash down the line that's going to be like a lottery ticket. Might be a losing lottery ticket, but in sometimes, like with your last pick, just have them on your bench. Just, wait for a rainy day to cash in that scratcher that could or could not pop. So, guys, that's all I got. Hopefully, I'll sit on. We'll take calls. I'll answer any of your questions. And, we could go on with the episode now. Football's over.
You want to see does anybody want to call in? Let me see. Can I put the number? If anybody wants to call in, let me put it. Can I put it in the chat? I don't know how to do this. How do I chat in the chat?
Apostle Parker, folks.
Yeah. Well, here's the number I got. It's, if you want to call in and talk to the Songbird live, it's 702-546-9521. We'll see if this works, because it'll play through my laptop and hopefully the Songbird can hear.
Well, let me tell you what. If you don't want to talk to the Songbird, you could talk to the Apostle too. He's a better conversation. We do have a question. How does your first round go in a 10-team PPR? Okay, we talked about the first two picks, Bijan and Chase, in any order, whichever order you want. That at three gets interesting. Three gets interesting. So I'm not even going to use the magazine. CeeDee Lamb's in there. Let me write them down. So I need to find something to write on. Right here, we talked about on last episode, the circle of trust. So you can see I don't have. So we'll go number 1. I'll go Chase. 2 is Bijan Robinson. 3 could go any number of ways. I like Justin Jefferson. So we'll go there, Justin Jefferson. 4. 4 is a good one. Let's go with Saquon. How about Saquon? How does everybody feel about Saquon?
Saquon. Everybody
Let's
loves
go.
Saquon.
Let's go with Saquon. 5. As much as I hate the Dallas Cowboys, you got to go with CeeDee Lamb. I would say CD.
Okay.
Okay. The sixth spot. See, the thing that's been an interesting thing. I'm gonna have to look at the magazine because I don't remember these guys without looking at them. But the thing that I've looked at, this is where it gets stuck. Is the 6th spot? It's kind of a sucky spot to pick. Not necessarily in the 6th spot. It's when you come back to get your second pick because like the second, like the 12th through the 20 guys. I don't really like after like the Derrick Henry, AJ Brown guys. Like I don't like. Oh, here's the guy that I don't like that usually goes there. I won't pick him there. Is Puka Nakua. I just for whatever reason I don't buy into the Puka Nakua. I just don't. We'll put him at 6. Puka 7. And these are just off the top of my head. Would be Jahmyr Gibbs. And you could even flip Jahmyr Gibbs you could put him at you could probably put Jahmyr Gibbs 3rd and flip him and Justin Jefferson. Then you get to 8, 9, 10. 8, 9, 10. I don't know if I would do.
That's why you don't pick Puka.
I just don't believe. I don't believe Puka. I think Puka's a fragment of Sean McVay's offense. Before Puka, there was frickin' Cooper Kupp, and before that, they had another guy. So Jahmyr Gibbs at 7, but obviously Jahmyr Gibbs could be 3, 4. So we need 8, 9, 10.
Neighbors, St. Brown.
Yeah, Neighbors. Neighbors is good. I like Neighbors there. That's a good pick, Apostle Parker.
Yeah, I came up with that.
I don't like St. Brown there, but it's not a bad pick. Let me get the list. I don't like St. Brown. Let me look at. We're looking at 3 for 2 more guys. I like Neighbors in the top 10. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not as prepared as I've been in the past.
That's pretty good. For live, I think we're doing good. I think I've cut out a couple times. Hopefully, the stream didn't seem to have died, but this thing is a little touchy, so just bear with us.
McCaffrey at 9.
JP likes St. Brown. Oh, what was that? He likes St. Brown with the new OC. It's an unknown.
It is an unknown. I mean, you could go there. I like AJ Brown better than St. Brown, but I mean, you can wait on AJ Brown. AJ Brown's not, unfortunately, I think AJ Brown might be my first or second favorite player. He's not a top 10 fantasy pick. Now, if you get him at 15, tremendous value, but I don't think you take but like I said earlier, if it's somebody you like, pull the string. Like picking AJ Brown 10th is not going to lead you the fantasy league. Picking AJ Brown at 10 is not going to. And a lot of these drafts that I've been doing, you could even throw Brock Bowers, the tight end, there. And the guy that goes in front of Bowers is the other guy from the Cardinals. The tight end is McBride. So those guys you can figure in to be in the top 15. I mean, yeah, you could go St. Brown there.
Yeah.
You could go the guy from the Dolphins, Devin A-Chain. So, I mean, there's other guys. So, did we get all 10? We'll go with that, St. Brown.
I don't know.
I'm fine with that.
Not a good counter lately.
So, yeah. Did we get them all, JP? Did I get all 10? I think I did.
So we gotta wait. JP's a moderator and number 1 fan.
St. Brown.
Waiting.
Experts are saying hide him in a second. Honestly, I don't have a problem with that. So the question is, experts are saying Derrick Henry going in high to mid second would say no if I got Henry at number 7. Don't have a problem with taking Derrick Henry at 7. Picking Derrick Henry at 7 is not going to lose you to the fantasy draft. Derrick Henry's an absolute stud of the generation. And 15 years from now, when we do the next all-time all-time NFL team, Derrick Henry might be one of the backs on that list. Derrick Henry's a talented running back. So, anybody else have any other questions? Chat?
What are we doing, chat? No call-ins so far, so might have answered everybody's questions.
So, what I'd like to preface out there, this is supposed to be fun. It's not fun for me anymore because I take it personal. Fantasy football is supposed to be fun. I just don't like losing, and I don't like losing to jabronis. So
yeah,
don't take it personal when you lose. Like me, don't be a poor sport. Otherwise, you end up over here, outside the circle of trust, and then you become cocksucker Chris. You know what they say about cocksucker Chris, right? He's a real cocksucker. So,
oh man, for sure.
Anybody got anything else?
I don't know if anybody's here besides JP anymore. Only the hardcores. El Taco didn't even show up because he was going to bed when I told him. So,
all right, guys. If we don't have it, JP, you got anything else? My strategy this year is to load up and RB and try for Hawkinson in the 7th round. How do you feel about waiting for Dak?
Dak in the 9th.
Dak in the 9th? Here's the problem with that. You got some cowboy idiots that'll overdraft him. Mm-hmm. And like we talked about earlier, knowing your league, the Cowboys, their fans are even worse than the 49er ones, believe it or not. And that's pretty hard to beat. Oh, yeah, they're the worst. Cowboys, they're the worst. So, yeah, JP, if you don't have any Cowboys people in your league, that's probably solid if you have to have Dak. I mean, their skill players aren't the best. They're not the worst. Little unknown at running back. I mean, Pickens and CD are going to be a pretty good 1-2 punch at wide receiver. So, and yeah, maybe Dak. Here's one, JP. I'm going to go out on a limb right now. Comeback player of the year, Dak Prescott. Yeah, go for it, JP. I like that. I don't know if he'll be there, though. I don't know if he'll be there in 9 because you know there's going to be some cowboy idiot out there that'll take him.
Bunch of idiot Cowboy fans.
Bunch of them. All of them. You know what I like about the Cowboys and their fans? Nothing. 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 They're the worst. Worst people on earth.
They really are.
And if they're a Cowboy fan that went to Cabrillo,
that's the worst of the worst. There's got to be a couple of those in the world, right? But
yeah, there's probably a lot.
Hope I never meet them. God.
They're probably. Anything else, JP?
And did JP's all his wishes come true?
Yeah, JP
did. Episode.
Is this underwhelming? Was this an underwhelming episode to you? Here, maybe this will make you feel better.
Oh, you got a 49er in your. You guys did great. Well, for sure, Chris did great. I was just kind of trying to find a Mexican shipping number on UPS or something. I was just trying to help when I could, but hopefully Chris can rewatch this and get good tips from himself before his draft. Good reminder.
Don't overdraft the quarterback, but get the quarterback right. Know who you want going in, and get who you want, and then build from there. If you have to have Jalen Hurts, get Jalen Hurts.
The way to go.
Some seasons are better than other seasons, you know?
Yeah, it's unpredictable. sometimes.
It's very unpredictable. You can do all the research that you want. I'll say this: I think there's definitely some skill involved and eliminating negative outcomes, but there's a whole lot of luck. I think it's 70-30. It's 70% luck and 30% skill. Because
Okay.
you obviously you have to get lucky along the way, hitting on the right draft picks, not having injuries, avoiding the bye weeks. I mean, there's all kinds of getting the right guy on the waiver wire. It's
Yeah.
there's definitely now I don't know if 70-30 is right, but there's a lot of luck involved. Definitely a lot of luck involved. So
Yeah.
I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to thank the Apostle for hosting. Just a few house cleaning notes. There may be some production updates here at the swamp. There could be some new. There could be some new lighting. There could be some new features coming
Oh,
soon.
nice. That sounds
Just
good.
just an FYI. So
Nice.
we got some stuff in the works
Major.
for our for our fans. You know.
Nice. Major upgrades. That sounds good.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
if anybody doesn't have anything else, I'll just thank you guys. Don't
Yeah.
hold it personally if these picks fuck up. Then,
Yeah.
then,
This is the
then
evidence right here. We got this show. It'll be posted right after. And
don't talk about the legend of CSC. Good old CSC.
CSC. Let's get a CSC shirt going.
CSC. Hashtag CSC. All right.
All right. Well, yeah. Thanks for coming, JP, and all the top. Here's our top fan list. Papa Smurf 6017 is number one. At Chrissy Torrey is number two. At Patrick Kearney's number three. And then we got Flag on Fire and Newsy G2C, who might be robots. 4 and 5. Top 5 fan. We had 5 fans today. It's always good. Always good to hear that. All right.
Well, historically, this has been our number one episode, huh? 2 years,
yeah,
2 years running. But
we'll
we never
see.
did a live episode.
Yeah, the live one could be a game changer. We'll see. See if I can. I gotta make sure it's posted after we get off. And
Hey, so chat, I have one thing I want to ask. Post in the comments. Well, I want you to comment, like, and subscribe, obviously. Post in the comments top 5 in order, top 5 NFL offenses in the league. And let's see if we could come with a top 5 skill players. So obviously I'm going to say Eagles, Bengals, Crickets, Eagles, Bengals, Ravens, Vikings, Lions. That's the Songbird pick.
okay.
So this could be a segment where
Rams.
All right, JP.
Lions. JP's doing it live. Rams, Lions. Going for it.
Go for it, JP. You're halfway home.
3 more. Needs 3 more, 2 more. Now you'll pick the Niners. Knows better. We'll see.
Come on, JP. Type faster.
Stafford Pulaski. What? Where are all these people? Pula. Do you mean Puka?
I think he meant Puka. So, JP, are you saying the Rams are number one? Skill?
Who would think the Rams are? That sounds like a fuck you Robbie pick because that's his favorite team.
Yeah, no. We are almost to the season. 'Tis the season of fuck you, Robbie. Fa la 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 la.
JP sent me one today.
What's that?
He sent me a fuck you Robbie today, getting ready for the football episode.
What? He did not.
Yeah. I saved it, I think. So I think I can put it in for this year.
JP, who's the other three? Apostle's falling asleep waiting for you.
No. Oh, there you go.
Well, here we go.
Oh. Eagles, Bengals, Lions, Ravens, Lions. 2 Lions?
He said
Dang,
Lions twice, JP.
Maybe he meant Rams because he put Rams earlier. I don't know. Ross. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I think that's Rams. That could be Raiders, though. That might be
Still
Raiders.
trying. It could be.
He did it again.
Got bad fingers. Poor JP. Losing the battle with the keyboard. Too pumped up.
Did he
Typing
do
too
Ravens?
fast.
Is that like Ravens twice then?
Rams.
Okay. Okay, so let's preface JP's. Eagles, Bengals, Lions, Ravens, Rams.
Okay.
Is that what I said? I have Vikings in there.
Yeah, you
I
have.
have Vikings and JP has Rams.
Yeah. That's
All
That's
right.
pretty even.
So chat, anybody that watches this, comment, like, subscribe, but put your top 5 skill player fantasy options. And let's see if Chris was right on the Broncos and the Bears. Only time will tell.
Yeah, we'll find out soon. All right. That it? All right. We'll see if I can
this
upload this.
weekend.
Hell yeah.
All right.
All right. Fantasy out. It's
Later,
over.
guys.
Bye. Let's see.